So now to make the grid and basically incorporate mandala into this particular sketch, we would need protractor. You can take the 360 degree or 180 degree, and we would need our ruler. So first of all, we are going to draw the mandala grid on this particular circle. Now this is going to be a regular usual mandala. So if you haven't if you are totally new to the term mandala, I would suggest you to take the mandala art for beginners course once, and then you can move on to this one. So because in that course I have discussed all the details for beginners, especially because this particular design is a little advanced. So if you are totally new, just make sure to take that course as well, and then continue this course. And also okay, and now we are going to draw the grid. So for that, take your protractor and align it on the midpoint, right, like this. So make sure that your protractor is completely aligned and straight, and just hold it right there. And now we are going to mark points at every 10 degrees. Now the 10 degrees grid is the very standard mandala grid. Now you can also use 5 degrees, 15 degrees, 20 degrees, whatever you want. Just make sure that whatever you are using it on the entire circle. So we are going to make the 10 degrees standard grid. So for that, we are going to mark points at every 10 degrees. So align your protractor, keep it straight, and keep the midpoint of the protractor on the midpoint that you have on your paper. So starting from 0, so this is going to be 10, 20, 30 and so on. Now if you are choosing 20 degrees grid, make sure to follow that all along. So again, as I always say, that you can always experiment. So we are making the 10 degrees grid right here. So we are just going to mark points at every 10 degrees. Right. So when you are done with this, now we are going to take a ruler and we are going to draw all the lines. So first of all, draw your vertical line. Now whenever you are drawing the line, make sure that all your lines are aligned and they go through the midpoint. Because for example, if you are just marking the point like this and it is not going to the midpoint, the grid won't be accurate. So for accuracy, always make sure that all your lines are going through the midpoint like this. So take your time in drawing the grid, because this is the most important part of drawing a mandala, the grid. So make sure that you take your time. You can also take break if you want to, and complete the design later, or you can also just rewind and pause the video if you need more time. So just align your ruler onto the 10 degrees, making sure that it is going through the midpoint, and draw a line. And then we are going to repeat the same procedure all along. So basically this is the regular mandala grid procedure only. So 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 15, whatever you have chosen, make sure to that all the lines are going through the midpoint, because otherwise the grid won't be accurate and all the basic shapes and patterns won't be symmetrical, and some would be wider than other. So the size of the basic shape then won't be symmetrical and balanced. So pause the video if you need more time, and if you already have completed, you can just fast forward it. So once you have completed, drawing the lines, you can see that the grid of the upper circle is ready. So this is a 10-degree standard grid that we have made for this particular section. Now just like we made the grid for the upper circle, we want the grid for the lower circle as well. So you can repeat the same procedure, marking points at every 10 degrees or 5 degrees or whatever, and then draw lines. Now since this is a smaller circle, here is a really cool trick that I want to show you, so that you can draw the grid in smaller circles without the protractors. Because as you can see that this is a really tiny circle, and if you just align your even the smaller protractor, all the grid measurements would be outside the circle, and this might hamper your basic sketch because there will be pencil lines all around it. So for this I have a really cool trick for you which you can try. So first of all, you already have the vertical line, draw the straight horizontal line. So your circle is already divided into 4 parts. Now you need just one more division so that you can draw all the patterns. So now take it like this is your 90 degrees. So just align your ruler, and now it is a little random measurement, but it is accurate, to be honest. So just align your ruler and see that if this section is being divided into 2 parts, and then just draw a line. So basically this is like without protractor or without measurement kind of a division, and then you can just repeat the same here as well. So this is like like a random measurement, but this can be accurate. So just take your time in finding the middle portion and just draw a line. So because this is a tiny circle, you don't need more sections, you just need 8 sections and you will be good to go. So in this way you can just divide the circle into 8 sections. So this is cool trick that you can try whenever you draw a dream catcher mandala and you have just tiny circles in which you are unable to use the protractor. So we have incorporated the mandala in these 2 sections. Now we are going to incorporate the mandala in the leaf. So as you can see that these are not rounds. So how we can just incorporate mandala into it? So what are we going to do is, as you have seen that in a feather and in leaves you have these horizontal sections as well. So just with symmetry of the shape of the feather, just draw some lines for reference like this. Draw on one side, and these are a little abstract. So, and just in the lower section, when you just reach the lower part, you can just draw a tiny feather kind of a shape like this. So now as you can see that this feather basically was the basic sketch. It was the border of the feather, and now we are basically drawing the feather. So when you have seen that in feathers and leaves there are like tiny horizontal sections, so for that we have made this. So now when you are just highlighting the sketch and completing the sketch, so this is one portion, and draw another line right here and divide the portion. So when you just see, and I'll show you by erasing it as well, just erase the border. So you will be having like a little feather section. So this is basically like feathers are divided into sections. So for that look we can do this. Now you can add as many horizontal sections as well. You can just add 1, 2, or you can add thinner layers as well. So here as well we are going to do the same, and erase this particular area so that when you are outlining this, you just don't outline the entire and you have the feather kind of look. And we are going to do the same here as well. So this is basically a sketch sketching portion. that is like a work in progress, and you just do it at your own pace. And we are going to repeat the same here as well in this particular section. So swirls and completing the sketch. So if if the size and width of the sections are exactly not same, that's perfectly fine, because these are feathers, and feathers are like like flowing here and there. So we want to give that flowy effect to this particular dream catcher. So whenever you are using pencil for sketching, just use it very light handedly so that you can erase all the pencil lines like this. So now you can see that this and this, both of these are two different things. This looks like a leaf and this looks like a feather in general. So in this way, step by step, we draw the sketch and we draw the incorporate mandala into a dream catcher. So now in a regular mandala, we just go round and we just draw patterns. Now just imagine that this is a section of a mandala. So now we are not going to draw round mandalas, rather we are just going to draw basic shapes covering this particular area. So we are going to discuss that in detail when we are doing the basic shapes and motifs, but we are how we are going to proceed further, that's I'm telling you. So you can just take this shape and this particular area and draw basic shapes and patterns in straight manner. Basically the feather in the direction the feather is going, we can just incorporate that. So in this way we are going to move forward. Now we are going to do the same here as well. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 horizontal sections and a tiny one in the bottom. So we are going to do the same here as well. So now we are just going to draw the sections and draw the sketch and complete it. So make sure that you take your time and enjoy the process. Feel free to pause the video, come back later. So you can see that just moving step by step, you can just draw whatever you want and incorporate mandala in any of the any of the shapes, any of the things that you want. So mandala is not need not to be always circular. In general, we can just incorporate it as we want. So any type of other dream catcher, whenever you see, you can use the same procedure, same steps to incorporate mandala into a dream catcher. So now we are just going to complete the sketch and erase the unwanted pencil lines. Now don't leave too much of a gap between these sections, otherwise it would not look like a feather, rather it would look like some deconstructed kind of a thing. So again, as I already told you, it's a work in progress. So draw, erase if you want to, and see what works fine with your design. Follow along with me. So as you can see that the section here is pretty wide because of the shape of the feather, because that's the look that we want to give, right? So when you reach this point, just make the sketch, complete the sketch. Like this. So as you can see that the leaves kind of shape now are looking like feathers. Now you can, if you have more feathers, you can do the same here, same here as well. But since these are pretty smaller feathers, we are just going to give that line kind of look with the pencil. So just draw a sketch. We are going to complete it with the pen anyways, so just for reference you can just do this so that you know that what are we going to do. So basically in this way we have been able to incorporate mandala into our dream catcher. So let me just brief you about how we are going to move. So in this particular section we are going to draw the regular mandala patterns and regular mandala, and we are going to do the same here as well. And in these two leaves we are going to use this particular area and draw basic shapes. All the basic shapes and patterns are going to reduce and increase, and basically we are just going to fill in these areas. So the size of the basic shape and the symmetry, we have to forget the symmetry here a little bit. So let's move on and see step by step drawing of the mandala.